Chair Jones,
Yes.
you have a quorum. Now, the vice chair has not signed in yet, but I don't know if you want to go ahead and start since we have a commission meeting at 6:30.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the High Springs Community Redevelopment Agency teleconference to order June 25th, 2020 at 6:01 p.m. For the invocation, I would like for us to have a moment of silence to remember all the things that are going on in this country and hope that we can find some peace in the future. And that after that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You'll stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I do not know why I don't see me. Am I supposed to be able to see me?
We don't see you either.
Okay, well, at least I can hear everybody now. Hello, everyone.
Commissioner Jones, there might be an option to turn your video on in the bottom left where it says stop video. There might be a cross through it. So if you select that, it may turn your camera on.
I'll click it again. I hope I don't lose you. I see it. Hi.
We can see you.
Thank you. Okay, do I hear, roll call, Angela, please.
Chair Jones,
Here.
Vice Chair James, Member Jameson, Member Lavin, Member Williams.
I'm here.
Here.
Do I hear approval for the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Approval of the minutes for March 12th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 12, 2020 CRA meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes for March 12th, 2020, the CRA meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? It passes 3-0. Okay, I want to say hello to everybody before we get down to business. It's been a while. Is City Manager DeCourcy available?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there you are. I see you. We have an update on the vacant CRA coordinator position.
Yes, ma'am. We advertised and interviewed for that position, and Mr. David Sutton applied, interviewed him, and he's willing to move in that spot. And he's on the meeting tonight.
Yes, I see him. Welcome, David.
Hello.
He's enthusiastic about it. He's someone from the community, and I think he will have a very important role and part of help developing downtown and the developing a relationship with the business owners, as well as the community as a whole.
Fantastic. Welcome aboard, David.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I am delighted to see you in this position, David. I think you'll be a real asset to our CRA. You already are an asset to our city. Mr. DeCourcy, what a great pick. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, did you have any thoughts? You're muted.
I'm trying to get Commissioner James on. I'm not
Oh,
talking
okay,
to
I'm
y'all.
sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, we will move on to discussion of future CRA projects.
Yes, ma'am. Where are,
y'all
Madam
hold one?
Chair?
Can y'all hold 1 second? I'm trying to get Commissioner James on.
Okay,
Hold on 1 second.
go ahead.
Commissioner James is on.
All right. She
Miss
on.
Gloria, hi. Okay. Shall we move on then with discussion of future CRA projects?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am. This is going to be the responsibility and duties of our newly appointed and selected CRA coordinator, Mr. Sutton. And we're open for suggestions and recommendations to move forward in the CRA district.
Okay, so we just contact David if we have any questions or suggestions.
Yes, ma'am. More or less suggestions in that area. And as he moves forward, he will develop some relationships and probably receive some projects for that area.
Chairperson, one of the things that I had talked to Mr. DeCoursey about is I believe we have to go before the county board for renewal by the end of this year. And that's a lengthy process to get on their agenda. We had gotten a 1-year conditional approval 2 years ago, and then it was on consent agenda last fall. So I know that we have to do that this fall. And then we had done all that work to expand the CRA and had that research done. And that was to be included with this upcoming renewal at the suggestion of several of the county commissioners to do it as an expansion versus a new CRA district. So have we done anything regarding those 2 items?
I think that's something that we're going to have to investigate, and probably, David, Nancy's going to be your best contact on that because she's, am I unmuted? Yes, because she's been involved with that for a couple of years now. So I'm sure she'll be able to help you with that process.
I'll be happy to set up a time to meet with you, Ms. Nancy, so you and I can discuss. I believe you're talking about expanding toward the Douglas neighborhood. Was that what you were talking about?
That's part of it, but we still have to do the renewal before the Board of County Commissioners, because although our CRA has a 2030 expiration date, they only gave us conditional approval to meet certain criteria. And we have met that, I'm sure, because our budget changed a lot over the last couple of years. But I'll be happy to meet with you and Mr. DeCoursey, or meet with you. I know that the county can be very challenging to get through the staff to get on their agenda, and it's got to be completed by the end of this year, or we risk losing our CRA renewal. So I will call you tomorrow to set up a time that I can meet with you and kind of give you the background information on that, because it is of the essence. When we were doing this 2 years ago, we started the process in April or May and didn't get on the agenda until October, because we have to go through several layers of their staff before they'll ever put us on the county commission agenda. So I will call you tomorrow for sure to set up an appointment, okay?
That'll be fine.
Thank you.
Do I hear any other comments or suggestions? Okay. I don't have anything from the chair to report other than to again welcome David. We look forward to having you interface with us as far as the CRA is concerned.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Mr. DeCoursey.
No, ma'am, Madam Chair, not this time. I don't have anything to add.
Well, I guess at this point, then I will hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Do
We'll
we
see.
stay on here for the next meeting, or do we disconnect and come back on?
No, you'll just stay on if you just want to mute your mics, and
Yes,
we'll back on at 6:30.
Thank you.
I don't want to go anywhere.
All right.
I can't turn my picture on because the host turned it off.
Are you there, Angela? All right, so we get Angela on, we can go. Do I need to call them and tell them to get on?
Mr. Mayor, before we get started, if anyone wants to make a public comment during public comment section via Zoom, we're going to ask that they use the raise your hand function on Zoom. We'll promote them to a panelist and they'll have their allotted time from there.
You mean citizen comments or?
Public comment, we'll just ask if anyone wants to speak rather than guessing of those of the attendees that they use the raise hand function on Zoom.
Okay. Are we there, Angela?
Yeah, we're ready whenever you are.
Oh, we're ready. Okay. So at this time, we'll call this High Springs City Commission teleconference meeting to order June the 25th at 6:31. At this time, we have the invocation by Mayor, Vice Mayor James. Unmute.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Dear Lord, once more and again, we assemble here to take care of the business of the city of High Springs. And Lord, we give you all the glory for maneuvering us through the changes that we've had to deal with here in this world of ours these last few months. So Lord, we're looking for you to continue to guide us, continue to show us the way, and continue to help us do the things that we need to do. And Lord, we know that as long as we are with you, we are working with you, that you will see us through. So these things we ask in your name, amen.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, if you have a flag, then we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Vice Chair James,
Here.
Commissioner Jameson,
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Lavin.
Here.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. At this time, I entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I will make a motion that the agenda be approved as printed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. At this time, I entertain a motion for the approval for the minutes of June 11th, 2020 Commissioner meeting.
I move that we approve the June 11th Commission meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Got a second? Any other discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Discuss and consider bids for the following phase A1 of the sewer extension. Mr. Kellogg gonna speak on this, Mr. City Manager? Is he there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
The
I
attorney.
don't know that I have a position to speak on at the moment.
Hold on. Scott, are y'all there?
I'm here on the audio. I think you can hear me. The video is not working quite yet because the host needs to allow my video. I don't know if you, I'll just go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
There is a letter in your packet which was provided to you by Midtower and Associates. It is authored by Tim Norman, and as you'll recollect, Tim has done work for us over the years as our city engineer and has ably assisted us over the years. And the letter states that on May 20th, 2020, 6 bids were received in response to the city's advertisement for bids on the Swati River Water Management District Gravity Sewer Extensions Phase A2, and it gives the number for the project. The bids range from a low of $687,003.81 to a high of $1,288,925. Based on our review, the apparent low bidder, DE Scorpio Corporation, does not possess the requisite experience with gravity sewer projects as outlined in the bidding documents. We therefore recommend that the project be awarded to the second lowest bidder, Commercial Industrial Corporation, in the second low bid amount of $733,797.50. Commercial Industrial Corporation does possess the requisite experience with gravity sewer projects and recently successfully completed the city's Phase A1 project. Attached is a copy of the certified bid tabulation, which we have prepared, contingent upon approval by the Swanee River Water Management District, as well as city attorneys, the receipt of proper bonds and insurance certificates. We recommend that the bid be awarded as follows: Commercial Industrial Corp., and it gives their address in Ocala, bid amount $733,000 and some change. So we have roughly $40,000 in difference between Scorpio's bid and Commercial Industrial Corporation. We have been in contact with Midtower, and we have also been in contact with Scorpio. And as you noted, Mr. Mayor, there is a representative of Scorpio, Don Kellogg, on the line. We've had several conversations with Don, and I think Don has also conversed with Tim Norman. His contention is he's well able to bid on this project and believes that Scorpio is well able to bid. There are a construction management firm, and they have a subcontractor that they intend to utilize on this particular project. And I will let Don speak for himself and his corporation, but what he tells us, not only Tim and our office, is that, look, Scorpio has not had a tremendous amount of experience in gravity sewer line extensions, but our subcontractor, this is their type of business they do day in, day out, and that's what we are relying on. And so we're able to proceed on that basis. And we do think we meet the minimum requirements of the bidding project, and furthermore, our sub is well versed. We are using a subcontractor by the name of All South Construction, which is a certified underground utility contractor licensed by the state of Florida and is also local to High Springs. They perform this work on a regular basis. We're confident in their ability to perform the services on this project. So Mr. Kellogg has offered a letter of June 3rd, 2020, and that letter goes to Tim Norman, professional engineer on behalf of Midtower. I see that Tim is also on the email. Hang on just a second. I think I may have gotten my video ability, so I'm going to click on that real quick. There we go. Sorry about that. So I won't read the letter. I believe the letter from Don Kellogg to Tim is in your packet. And so the letter, of course, speaks for itself, and it says that we have the minimum experience, 3 projects involving gravity sanitary sewer within the past 5 years, each having a minimum contract value of $500,000, and 1 project having a contract value in excess of $1 million. So we feel we meet the minimum requirements for this particular project. We reached out to Mr. Let me see if I can find the email. We reached out to Mr. Kellogg today and asked him to provide us with information relating to his subcontractor's experience with this sort of construction. And he did provide that. Andrea, I know you're on the line, and I'm having trouble finding that document that Don Kellogg sent us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Mayor, I'm looking at the document provided from Don Kellogg about the All South construction. And what we were asking is what similar projects they have completed, similar to the project we'd be doing in High Springs. And there's a list of several from recently. And I don't know if this is in your packet. We got this a little later today, so I apologize about that. But there's Clay County School Board. That was performed by the subcontractor that Scorpio would also be using. And the job there was a 750-foot force main and 20-inch wet well. There's Terra Village, which was a 1,000-foot 6-inch sewer. Let's see, sorry, I'm reading on my phone right now. But it was a sewer related project as well. There was 2 GRU projects. One was for a 250-foot jack bore and 300-foot drop manhole, and the other for an 1,800-foot sewer. There was a North Florida Regional Medical Center project with a 2,100-foot portable water main, and a Duration Builders project for a 2,000-foot portable water and also an 1,800-foot sewer. So the purpose of the list was to provide similar projects where they've handled something similar to a sewer extension. And so that list was provided as certain projects that All South Construction has done similar to this project.
So, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to relate to you, and Tim's on the line, so I appreciate at the appropriate time, perhaps we can turn it over to Tim to further speak to some of these issues here. And in no way do we want to undermine Tim. We have a great relationship with Midtower. I think the city has experienced a very good, solid relationship in their advice, in their counsel, and their expertise to the city in the past. But my view is I wanted to try to get as much information before the decider, which is you all, the commission, as to picking the appropriate entity for this next phase of our sewer project. And so our effort is to just get that information in front of you the best we can and provide that that information to you. There is a difference between the two bids, as we said, $40,000. And so it's going to be up to your determination. And I appreciate that Mr. Kellogg is on the line tonight and can perhaps answer some of your questions. I appreciate that Tim is here, so he can also perhaps ask some questions of Don or provide you additional advice in addition to his letter. But our effort is to just simply get you as much information as we possibly can so that you all can make the best decision that you feel is appropriate for this particular project. Now, I will also say that Don Kellogg has stated to us, and it may have been while Tim's on the line, if you all decide that it's best to go with the Commercial Industrial Corp, they're not terribly interested in a bid protest. I would hope the same is that true of Commercial Industrial Corp. We have not had that discussion with them, but I believe my understanding is that Mr. Kellogg, on behalf of Scorpio, would like the job. They're not really interested in getting into a tangle with the city, and I appreciate that. That was helpful information. That doesn't guarantee us that there wouldn't be some sort of bid protest down the road, but I do appreciate his candor and his approach to the situation. And so whoever the city decides they wish to go with this evening, I believe you have the information before you necessary to make a good decision. And that's what we're looking for. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, you're still muted, I believe.
Got you, ain't leave me tonight, buddy. Anyone have a question for the city manager? I mean, for the attorney, before we move on to Mr. Kellogg?
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone have questions? Okay, Mr. Kellogg.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, our stance is pretty much just that. I think that was laid out beautifully. So I really have nothing else to add. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have of us or of All South that I can answer. He's not present with us, but I will do my best. Beyond that, we will respect whatever decision you make.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I'll ask some questions of Mr. Kellogg, and since and if any of y'all want to add in, you've listed these jobs with Clay County, Terra Village, GRU, 2 jobs at GRU, North Florida Regional Medical Center, Duration Builders. Ulrich Construction did some of the general contractor. Scorpio was general contractor on at least one of those jobs. And CPPI, Chuck Perry Partners was on one of those. Did any of those jobs result in litigation, or was there any, describe any difficulties you had, Don, with the jobs that you provided to us as part of Andrea's email that at least one of those jobs involved your company, Don?
Correct. So the one job that involved us directly with All South, we did not have any issues. It did not end in any type of litigation. I believe if you reached out to Keystone Heights, they would have no issues with the performance of All South or of Scorpio. The other projects I can't speak to. I don't know. I assume not. I assume that he wouldn't have made those as recommendations or references if that was the case. but he's not here.
Can you describe for the commission what Scorpio does, what their background is, why you think you all could do this job in a
Sure.
efficient and good way?
Sure. So Scorpio is a community-centered construction company. We're based in Gainesville. We are a construction management company specifically. We do work for higher education, for the city of Gainesville, multiple other cities, the county. We're based here in Gainesville. We pretty much have a 60 to 90 mile geographic region that we will reach out to for the work that we pursue. What we do is hire the right subcontractors, bring them to the table, and we get the jobs done. The types of work that we perform probably ranges, from $0 to $25 million worth of size of projects. The majority of those projects are new construction or renovations on campuses. We do a lot of work at the University of Florida. A lot of that work is highly technical. It's in very complicated spaces where you don't know what you're going to find when you put a shovel in the ground, especially when working, around the University of Florida. So to us, technical jobs are what we like. We don't find this job overly complicated. There are some unknown factors to this job as far as it relates to septic systems and where we're going to find those in the yards. I think that's the kind of the question mark to it as far as the roadway component of it, the running of the main sewers. I don't think that that's a complication to this project. So that's us in a nutshell.
On the geology of Western Alachua County is highly porous, dune sands on the surface, and then we get down into the clay area and of course large lime rock areas. And my understanding is that you can run into some very difficult lime rock to get through, excavate, and that sort of thing. Is that going to present a problem for you or All South in conducting the work necessary to install the gravity sewer in this project?
Based on everything that we understand of the area and of the project documents, no.
And you've experienced on behalf of your corporation that type of work in the past?
Sure. I mean, typically jobs that we do are, they involve a geotechnical report. I'm actually working with the University of Florida right now to go into the middle of one of their buildings, remove roughly 3,000 square foot of concrete, over excavate. This is within an occupied building, put back suitable soils, put back a new structural foundation. It's a different type of mindset as far as the type of work, but it speaks to the ability to work in a complex environment.
Respond to Tim's letter, which indicates that your corporation does not possess the requisite experience with gravity sewer projects as outlined in the bidding documents. Can you speak to that specifically, please?
Sure. So the way we read the bidding documents, it speaks to projects that have involved sanitary sewer. Most of the projects we do involve sanitary sewer to some level or another. But in this particular case, in the secondary request that Tim requested, he did ask that we talk specifically about our ability and our experience with tying into existing septic systems and the decommissioning of those systems, and then ultimately tying the existing houses into the sanitary system at that point in time. And my statement to Tim has been that as far as that specific experience, we do not have that experience. I have also followed up with All South, and he does not have much of that very specific one step above requirement. So if that's what you're looking for, then that's part of your decision.
If you were awarded the bid by the city of High Springs, as I understand it, the decommissioning of the sewer systems, that describe how you would handle that. And it's going to involve some communication and some interplay between homeowners to decommission their sewer systems. That's what I think is a basic function of this particular project. So I think Tim's concern perhaps, and the city commissioners and our mayor's concern is how do you approach that? What do you anticipate? What would you do?
We're a big proponent of communication throughout everything we do, so I don't see that as any different in this situation. It's one of those things that, you know, we've got to work with homeowners, and we got to work within their criteria of allowing us into their personal spaces, their homes, their yards. So to me, first and foremost, we need to have the right plan. We need to have a plan that gives them plenty of notice of what our intentions are. First, we need to figure out where these septic systems are, because right now I don't believe they're all identified. And then as each system is identified, each system is going to present its own challenges. Some of those systems are going to be very simple. I think some of those systems are going to be a little more complex to get to. Now, until we get to that point of the conversation with each individual, we don't know what we're going to encounter there. And I think that's true for anybody that's bid this job right now. As far as the communication, once we identify where the systems are, we obviously have to coordinate with each person to tie them into the new system at that point in time. You know, to me, it's an open conversation, and we need to do the best thing we can do for the customer, which in this case is the residents of High Springs.
Don, we're a small city.
Yes, sir.
We know our neighbors, we know each other. I think the city would want to know, are you going to be involved in this project? Are you just simply the bidding person? Who's going to be the face and the name, and would you be involved in this project?
So to answer that question, I also have a place in my heart for the city of High Springs. I actually lived in Tillman Acres for 11 years. I've since moved out of the city of Gainesville and living back in the city of Gainesville, I should say. So I know High Springs. I've been there for a long time. I will be involved from the standpoint of my position here is I'm the project director. So ultimately, all of the construction related projects for Scorpio I am involved in. But as far as day-to-day on the ground, you're going to see a superintendent involved. You're going to have a project manager from our company that would be involved. And then you're going to have All South Construction involved, because they'll have full-time boots on the ground for everything that we do.
I think one of the concerns our mayor had, or not our mayor, but our manager has, is did you underbid this project, or do you believe you have underbid it? And are we going to be looking at a bunch of change orders because you mistakenly bid the project? Can you respond to that, please?
My response to that would be we bid the plans and specs. So I would say that what the documents have asked us to do is what I believe we have covered. I can't tell you what I don't know. I mean, that's the nature of construction. So, you know, as we start to investigate and learn things that aren't identified, then, you know, that may be a situation where we do have to have further discussions about that. But as far as what's on the documents right now, I believe we have that covered. I believe All South has it covered. We have walked the job with All South. They've spent quite a bit of time out there with our superintendent to understand the area. No, I do not believe we underbid the job.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any further questions of Don.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any commissioners? Any commissioners, questions?
I had one question, but I think it's pretty much been covered in listening to the conversation here. Because with the price that they had offered us originally, I just wanted to be certain that because we now have two companies that's doing this project, is that going to be a valid price? And I think pretty much we just went through that, but I was wondering about that myself.
So my concern, and you know, I spoke with Attorney Walker earlier, you know, the bid differential is $46,794. And our job is to look at the big picture. And I really respect Midtower and Tim Norman. I think he's on the line. I would ask Mr. Norman, the other company that you're recommending, I believe they did the last phase over there in Southside. And do you know if there were overruns? I know there were some problems that got ironed out at the end. Do you have some more data on that? Because even though this is grant money and it's not money coming out of our High Springs coffers, we still are charged with a responsibility to make sure that we are making the right decision, because this is, money that is tax money from Swanee River Management District that we need to make sure we're utilizing it correctly.
I would like to hear from Mr. Norman myself as to his thought.
Yes, ma'am. The last job we did there, Commercial Industrial Corps built that job just right across the street, basically from where this project will take place. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe the final contract price was very close to the original contract price. We were over on some quantities, under on some others, so it kind of worked out that way. But like I said, we didn't have any real issues. Anytime you go into a neighborhood and you tear up all the streets and you're in people's backyards, there's going to be issues arise. Doesn't matter who the contractor is, there's going to be issues that are going to arise that you're going to have to deal with. So, but again, the last job was very close to the original bid price on the final number. I don't have that number in front of me, but it was very close.
And did they use subcontractors to do the work, Mr. Norman? Do they have in-house people? How does that organization work versus the other bidder?
They are utility contractors. They self-performed almost all the work.
Just real quick question for Tim. Tim, you would, are you standing by the same opinion you had in your letter? I mean, after Mr. Kellogg's statements, are you still confirming that or standing by it?
I'm still of the same opinion, and I have, I have nothing against. I've never worked with Scorpio. I'm sure they're a fine firm, and I don't know anything about their subcontractor as well. But we had experience requirements in there of 2 projects, $500,000 involving gravity sewer, and one of $1 million. And what was provided by Scorpio, I think most of the gravity sewer is incidental to the other work they're performing. I understand when you do buildings and things like that, there's gravity sewer involved, but that's not really what the thrust of the project is. And as far as the All South construction, the three projects they provided that involved sewer, one was $120,000, one was $225,000, and one was $560,000. So they don't meet the minimum requirements either. And that's what's in the document. And that's what everybody has to play by. So again, it's our opinion. I'm not saying anything negative about the 2 firms, because I haven't dealt with them. I don't know what kind of work they do. So I haven't dealt with them, but we have had successful experience with Commercial Industrial Corps, as has the city. And something that was raised earlier that's very important. There's a lot of rock in here. And if you don't have the right equipment, and I don't know, y'all probably didn't see it, but last time Commercial Industrial Corp brought in very large track hose to move that rock out of the way. So it requires some special machinery and some special know-how, and they've got it. They've worked in the area. They've done it before. So that's my opinion. I still think it's going to be in the city's best interest to go with Commercial Industrial Corps in the second low bid amount, but we will do whatever the city directs us to do. We'll be happy to work with Scorpio if that's the direction you want to go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
We're hearing that. So, Tim, I'm hearing that they really haven't did any big jobs like we have here in High Springs. Is that what you're saying?
That's based on the information that's been presented. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, because when he was speaking there, High Springs does have plenty of rock. Mm-hmm. And you're going to run into some rocks in High Springs. No questions about it. I mean, no questions about it. You will run into some rocks. That's why they call it high rock.
Mm-hmm. And large rocks too.
Yeah. So Tim, So do we have any issues with commercial industrial?
No, sir, we have done about 6 projects with them around the state, major gravity sewer projects, many of them in Fanning Springs, and of course the one in High Springs. So we've done multiple projects with them, and we find them to be an excellent contractor.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Mayor, I have some real reservations as far as the difference in the low bidder and the next, the next highest bidder. The $46,000 is a lot of money difference. There's also a kind of a third party involved with this, not someone who does their own work. So I'd be inclined to go with Mr. Norman's recommendation.
Any other commissioners?
I mean, is somebody gonna make a motion for something?
I was going to just say, in fact, I will move that we accept the next highest bidder.
So you're speaking on commercial industrial corporation?
Yeah, commercial industrial, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Okay. And I'm pretty much leaning that way too, because there's too many unknowns, and they've been in the area before, and we're having issues with them, and they're familiar, and they probably know what equipment they need to bring into High Springs to get the job done. About that being said, anyone else? Okay. At this time, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay,
Aye.
motion carries 4-1. Don, thank you for who knows in the future.
No problem. Like I told you, I love High Springs, so I wish you guys the best.
All right.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Okay. Moving on to access control system, City Hall.
Mr. May.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I guess I'm going to be the one presenting on this.
Okay.
So I don't know how versed the commission is on what access control is, and I don't want to necessarily bore you guys, but maybe just kind of my 45-second introduction. So access control is basically very sophisticated door locks. Right now we have an access control system, for example, at the High Springs Police Department, where officers or their personnel are able to walk up to a door, put a card kind of near a reader, and then the door unlocks and they're able to gain entry into the building. If an officer loses a card, we're able to revoke that access. We don't have to worry about rekeying everything. Everything's audited as far as who goes in where. We could set time restrictions. For example, some people could access buildings certain times. There's all sorts of things like that. And that's essentially what an access control system is. And kind of the backstory here is City Hall has never really had a system like that, except for if you guys have been downstairs, the door that kind of lets you buzz in. That's essentially kind of a part of an access control system. So something that the manager has really brought to our attention as far as raising the overall physical security of City Hall. We've been talking about this kind of on a staff level for quite a while. We finally got everything together as far as the bid package and got this out to bid. And what we did, I don't know if you guys saw it, but essentially put a plan out there for, I think it was 9 doors total, kind of wrote all those specifications up. And then the city received, I want to say, I'm going to pull it up, 9 different bids, which is really impressive during COVID-19. Whoever's doing the advertising for bids, the clerk's office, great job. So we got 9 different bids that ranged from the low end of $16,504 up to the high end of, I believe, about $45,000. So quite a big range there. And what we did was went through, and just see if which bids actually met the qualifications. All of them except for 2 did meet it. And then from there, just kind of looked at the lowest dollar number and worked our way up. I kind of have a similar situation to the sewer in that the lowest bidder, who is Honeycomb Systems, they bid $16,740. They didn't exactly demonstrate, there were kind of some details missing, and they really didn't demonstrate as far as references and things like that. And I'll check my notes on exactly why. They did technically meet the specifications, but their proposal lacked a lot of supporting information. They provided a timeline that seemed, in my opinion, it was only a 2-week timeline, which was very aggressive and didn't really seem very realistic. They had no references listed, and one of the concerns that I had was their system. They did what's called a motion sensor request to exit. So just really quickly, for example, when you go to leave, for Jennifer, when she goes to leave the finance department, she has to have some way of requesting to exit to trigger that door to unlock for her to exit. Well, they put a motion sensor, so you don't have a card or a button to push or anything like that. One of the problems is you have a lot of glass, like for example, in the executive, what I call the executive suite where Drew Lynn's desk is, they put a motion sensor, so if someone were to walk by, that would actually unlock the door. So their design seemed to not really fit City Hall exactly, in my opinion. And then there was another factor, the second lowest bidder, which is $2,195 more. They actually provided the 3 locks that are in what are going to be the clerk's office for protecting some of those records. They actually went kind of above the bid specifications, and they provided door locks that are actually audited, and they're on the same card system. Whereas when we wrote the bid specs, we asked for just a code, just kind of to add an extra layer of security to some of those city records, personal records stuff, the personnel records that are more protected. And they actually went above and gave us the same locks that are now audited. And so what that means is we actually have in the system, it will record who actually goes in. So for example, if maybe we go to a personnel file and something's missing and we don't know how, when it happened, you can actually go back and audit who went in there. So the second lowest bidder, who is A3 Communications, they provided excellent supporting information, excellent references that included Clemson University, a couple other really, they had an outstanding resume, and they were so close on the dollar number, plus they actually exceeded the expectations. So, and for my recommendation, just the value of them exceeding those 3 door locks and giving us that audit just for that, that alone, I think, justifies the extra value in their cost. But then also actually providing all the backup and supporting information and a realistic timeline just seemed that they were a better fit and a little more qualified. That's kind of, I know I just kind of threw everything at you. I'm happy to answer any questions. Obviously it always is kind of odd to not go with the lowest bid. There should be some kind of reason for it. I'm really happy to try to explain any more if you guys want to know.
Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I just don't have any issues with not going with the lowest bidder. It's not always the most appropriate way to go. So that part doesn't bother me because you've explained the differences.
Eric, I finally was able to magnify the sheet you sent us, and it looks like the warranty is also better with the one that you're recommending, the A3 Communication is giving us more warranty. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Lavin's correct. I will say that it's possible that the lowest bidder actually has a similar warranty. They just opted to say, the lowest bidder said 1 year one year warranty on parts and labor. That was the statement. That was all that was said. The bidder, the second lowest that I'm recommending, had kind of a mixed bag as far as like 1 year on labor. Some of the hardware had 2 years. The cabling, a few of the locks had 10-year warranties. 25-year warranty on the cabling. So that 1 year is the minimum for them. They have a lot of other items that have pretty significant warranties. So I would say, yes, it is better. It's possible that the lower bidder might have similar warranties, but they just didn't specify that in their package.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Jennifer's, was this in the budget? Was this a budgeted item at the beginning of the year?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay, I'm not for it. I'm going to be consistent with what I've done since I've been on here 8.5 years. It's not a budgeted item. To me, it's not a necessity. It's nice. I think it's there. I think this is something that needs to go into the 2021 budget, then I have no issue with it. But we have no idea what the budget's going to do between now and October. And for an unallocated project, that's just me. I'm not for it. I think we can put it off in October and allocate the money. So just trying to be consistent.
I would tend to follow Scott, Commissioner Jameson on that we need to look at this as part of the budget talks, especially given the lack of income that we're going to be experiencing in this last quarter of the year.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just make a comment. One of the challenges that we had was when we had this discussion on staff level. This was something that we always wanted, the manager and the staff always wanted, and we'd have this discussion. Well, how much do we budget? And we just never knew. And so I think one good thing, obviously, even if we table all these, all of these particular bids, I think now we actually have a number to budget for. Because in the past we just didn't know. We didn't know if this was a 40,000 or 10,000. We just had no idea. So I think that at least now we have some kind of a round number to budget for in the future. So I'm kind of glad we did it, and I don't think there's no harm or no foul in just tabling this. But we've got some more information that'll help us at least to budget now going forward.
Can you reach out to these vendors and let them know that it would be likely that it might be a job done in October, November, and ask them to watch, for resubmission or whatever?
Or could the bid still be good?
Right.
Because
a lot of them specifically say they're not good, and they probably won't. I guess I think to receive so many bids, even in the middle of a pandemic, shows that there's definite interest. So if there's definite interest now, I think the interest will be there in October. So if we do this whole thing, I mean, we have the same big documents. We just post it again and allow people to, rebid. I don't think there's not a lot of staff time, and we've created all the documents. We've done all the legwork. They just have to come back and send the same numbers. I don't know. That's really going to be up to them. It's always a weird situation whenever everybody publicly bids and then now you have to come back and rebid. But hey, I mean, the numbers are probably only going to get better. So.
Well, let me just throw in there, and if somebody else said it, and I appreciate it, Eric, doing this, and I think it's a worthy project. I think it's something that needs to be done. I mean, we need to improve the security. That's what I do at the school board. This is stuff, and we've got them in certain schools, exactly what you're talking about. So I think it's a worthy project. I think it's something that needs to be put in budgeted item for the next budget. But I want to thank you and the city manager for pursuing this. So at least now we're in a position to where we have information and we can move forward. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll make a motion that we table this item until next fiscal year.
I second.
Give it to Gloria.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on this item? This item.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome. Happy to do it.
So we got a motion on the floor. Just for conversation, Jennifer, where was you looking to take this money from for this? Just for conversation.
It would out of repairs and maintenance and operating from the different departments. Because we haven't really been using as much because we've been basically working from home and not have, used a lot of utilities and stuff like that. So that would have been where it came from.
All righty.
But we can put it, I've got it written down for next year.
All right, that's October's not far. October's not too far away.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and it is needed for a safety measure. This the time that we're living in today. Okay.
Agreed, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric, and we'll see what happens in October. Okay, all in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All righty. At this time, citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes. I think Kevin was telling us that you can hit your hand on Zoom, whatever that may be.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's a function in Zoom. If anyone watching would like to make a comment, to use the raise hand feature. We'll see it on our end, and we can move them to be a panelist. So if anyone would like to participate, please use that raise hand function, and I will announce their name and bring them on.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see it. So any hands been raised?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Blake has raised her hand, and she's been moved up.
Okay, she needs to, okay, she's on now. Go ahead, speak now.
Good afternoon or good evening, commissioners and everyone that's on Zoom. My name is Mabel Blake, and I am a property owner near the property that was annexed in by Double B. And I have some questions that I would like to have you all to help me answer that I can get better understanding. Okay. The first one is in reference to the March 12th minutes. Under the March 12th minutes, under your new business, and I'll read from that. Mr. Busby, owner, stated that they are looking to put in 2 to 3 acre lots with some larger lots. He stated that it would be on well and septic. He stated that it would be proposed that the road into the community be owned and maintained by the community, not the city of High Springs. He states the interest is off 210th and backs up to Bailey Estates property. My question to the commissioners is, I am out here and I was never noted, we are on property near that annexation where you all annexed this in. We were never notified of it being an application for it being annexed in. I'm not sure of the policies in reference to that, but being that we have property abuts to it, are right within 400 feet of it, we should have gotten some type of notification. And here that the owner is saying we here in our community is going to be to own and maintain that road. And I'm wanting is the clarification, is he talking 210th? Because 210th is a county road. We as parcel owners in this area are paying for the chip seal that was done on that road. That's what we are paying for. We do not own that road. And so I want to get an understanding as to what Mr. Busby was referring to, that we are going to own and maintain that road. which would go lead all people into his development because they would be coming off 210, 205th, 218, and 202. That is the way those property owners would be able to get into that property. There's no road coming out of the city of High Spring for those property owners to get into that development. So, and my question is, we didn't even know anything about his annexation. So I don't know who he was representing when he said the community is gonna own, pay, and maintain that road. For 210, someone help clarify that for me.
Mr. Walker gone?
It doesn't look
Miss-
like they're on.
Mr. Mayor, I believe Scott had to jump off, and Ms. Blake, I've been taking notes on this for you. I'm reviewing the annexation statutes, but I do need to talk to Kristen. She was there at the meeting on Tuesday about what notices were sent for which parts of the annexation. As far as a voluntary annexation goes, there's certain notices that have to be published within the newspaper at specified periods of time to give notice to the community. I am looking into the road situation. I need to pull the specific part of the minutes that you're referring to, and I'm happy to get with Kristen at High Springs and make sure that the whole checklist has been complied with and everything was done the way it should have been.
Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that the city manager get with the attorney and set up something with Ms. Blake and meet on her question.
Okay.
And we're happy to do that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, sounds good.
Mr. Mayor, do we have Ms. Blake's phone number or contact information?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have that information.
Okay. Now,
any questions,
may
Ms.
I
Blake?
continue? That was just the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my other question is in reference to you all's notification in the paper. Since the COVID-19, there was nothing that changed the way you all did business as far as holding your meeting. You never put in, when you said for your meetings, they were all to be held at City Hall. There was nothing to clarify because City Hall was closed. There was nothing in the paper on any of your notices in the paper that people had an opportunity to, that you would only be doing Zoom. There was no information available to that at all. So how were people to know that you were holding your meetings through Zoom and they had no information in reference to how to join you in June on Zoom, because there was nothing regarding this in your when you announced your meetings regarding the annexation. The first one was fine because you were at the City Hall on March the 12th. But since that time, COVID, stay at home, nothing, you did not change any of your notices saying that this is the way we're going to be holding our meetings. This is how you will be able to contact us. This is how you will be able to participate in our meeting. So I am questioning whether or not you actually notified us and the public as how to get it. I know I did not know as how to get you on Zoom, or whether or not there was a way to call in for people that do not have Zoom. There was none of that in any of your notices that you put out, except to the meeting was going to be held at City Hall.
Mr. Mayor, on the 2 meetings for that ordinance, City Hall was open. The last reading was June 11th, And we did have City Hall open for people who wanted to come in and speak.
City Hall was open on the 11th.
Yes, ma'am. The mayor was here, the city manager, and city staff.
We don't know. It's been flip-flop. And as citizen, there's been no clarification on your meetings since COVID, and we all had stay at home. We were there for a meeting on Tuesday night with your planning board. We were packed, about 40 people in that City Hall, and they were on Zoom. So they were protected, but we, because of the concern in reference to what is going on in our community, we were there. 40 of us or more. While your planners was at home, nobody made any adjustments for us at all. So, okay. And also there have been no signs posted on the property. The one sign that was there was down in the grass. You thought it was a piece of trash. And so you had to stop your car, get out, and go read an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that was down on the ground in the grass. So I think, well, I just want to know, because there have not been really any significant changes in regard to making your notices in the paper since we have been in COVID-19. We are concerned about our health also.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
wasn't this posted on our website about the meetings?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Right, I thought so.
I understand what you're saying about your website. Everybody don't know about your website.
Angela, do you know, was it posted in the notice on the paper, the advertised notice, that it would be a Zoom meeting as well, or not?
I don't believe it was in the newspaper. That's why we had City Hall open for people who wanted to come speak on the item.
Okay, so they could come to City Hall that night that we were doing the Zoom meeting, and you all were down there, so City Hall was open for them to access the meeting room.
On both readings, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I think maybe I should tell you guys that Ms. Blake had called me and asked me about these questions. And I told her I thought it would be a good idea if she brought it up before the commission, because I did not have all of the answers to give her to satisfy her question. So I just think you need to know that.
So I would follow up with what Commissioner Jameson said, that Mr. DeCoursey and the city manager contact her about the specific issue of the property and the notice and the fact that the sign maybe wasn't adequate. I'm not sure what those regulations are, but I'm sure that that's spelled out in our code. And then discuss, you know, how the notice for the meetings was made. And I appreciate her coming and joining us tonight. You know, we can't be at the plan board meeting because we try to stay as impartial as possible. So being here tonight and sharing your experience and your concerns with us is really important. And I'm very glad that you're here. And I'm sure that Mr. DeCoursey will be following up with you. Thank you very much, Ms. Blake.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Ms. Blake? Oh, she's gone. Okay. Anyone else?
Mayor, I did remove her from speaking. She did raise her hand again. It's at your discretion if you'd like me to put her back in.
Yes, yes, for the sake of peace. Yes, go ahead.
He's back in, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Blake.
I was just responding to let you know that I am still here. The other, okay, you all will help me clarify thing. I also noticed in your paper on today, June 5th, 25th, the land use change notices in there, and still City Hall is not open, and they're not putting anything in the paper for people to know that they can join you and speak on Zoom.
Mr. Mayor, we
I
are
think
open
that's
for
important
the public today
because
as well.
we have to look for the newspaper, which is not distributed in our community. So we got to find out where the newspaper is. It's nothing that's distributed in our community. And I think that, to me, is really something that should be considered when you all make your notices on anything in reference to when we on the stay at home. Don't go unless you need that. We got to go out and search for a newspaper to see what is in there. Everybody don't have access to your website, don't know how to get on your website, and we are in the rural community.
You were saying something, Angela? Go ahead.
We are open for the public's meeting tonight as well.
I'm sorry, what did she say?
City Hall is open for public to come in tonight.
I'm told it's closed, so there's conflicting information. Well, was told that City Hall was closed, that you all were only going to be doing on Zoom. We're not told that we can come into City Hall. We're told that it's closed. You are on Zoom, and we're told that City Hall is closed, that the only way that we can get in and to participate is on Zoom.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Spoken to so far says that they are willing to comply with the quarantine. If they don't, and they're caught out and about, they
Do you hear that?
Somebody video playing.
Oh dear. Does Ms. Blake, this
Yes.
is Commissioner Jones, do you have any suggestions as to what we could do further to let the public know as to our meetings?
Yes, I do have some suggestions. You can, when you make your notices and stuff and you put them in the paper, but we got to find them. You should put something on there that Zoom, how they can get into Zoom if people have it, if there's a telephone number, if people don't have access to a computer that they can call in. And I don't know how you can, to me, truly be having a public hearing when you're not getting the information out to the people that need to be in on your public hearings. I mean, I know under state law, I guess, as long as you put it in the paper, you've done your duty. But I don't think that's being fair to the people in the area, in the rural area. And this annexation that you all accepted in, and I got the paper, finally had to go down to Alachua County today to get the papers. The map that is in there does not show anything where that subdivision is coming off of Northwest 210th Avenue. It shows 236 or something. I don't know what the guidelines is in them, but none of us as lay people really understand a map where it doesn't show that it's coming off your street. It just shows 236, 441, and just shows the little area. We would not know that. We are lay people.
Okay, so Ms. Blake, so the city manager gonna set up a meeting with you and with the attorneys, and we can sign and discuss this map with you and whatever we need to discuss with you.
Yes.
Because what you're speaking about now, we're not looking at right now. We don't see that. But the city manager will set up a meeting with you and discuss your issues with you, any question that you may have.
Okay.
Okay, and food for thought. You don't have to go to a lottery to get a newspaper. You can go to the post office and get a
We don't know where they located at. That's what I'm just telling you where I had to go get the papers.
It's
We're
located
in the
at
rural area. There's no stand out off of 236 and 210 or 202 for us to get. We don't know.
Okay, stay at the post office.
Stay at home. I'm just telling you what the order said. You know, it was a stay at home. And now it's even worse. COVID-19 is increasing in our county and in the state of Florida.
Okay. All right. So
I'm in the older age, so I mean, hey.
So Mr. Manager, you're gonna get with her and with all the concerns that you have and the questions that you have?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. And Ms. Parker, you're gonna research that also?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Ms. Blake. Okay. Anyone else? All right.
No, sir, there are no further hands being raised.
Okay. We're moving on to new business. Consider resolution 2020-D.
Mr. Mayor, Chief Gillian.
I know Scott is gone. Ms.
Mr.
Parker,
Mayor, I apologize. My computer was going slow unmuting. This is Resolution 2020-D, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, relating to the provisions of fire services, facilities, and programs in the City of High Springs, Florida, establishing the rate of assessment, imposing fire service assessments against assessed property located within the City of High Springs for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2020, approving the assessment roll, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date. And Mr. Mayor, this is a annual fire assessment resolution. The fire assessment fee is set at $155, which is the same as it was last year as well.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Is the chief there tonight?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'm here.
All right. Anything you'd like to say?
Yes, sir, it's the same thing we've been passing since 2008, and it's the same fee as last year. So what we agreed upon two meetings back to stay the same as last year, and that's where we're at.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Okay, so at this time, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2020-D on the second reading.
Did somebody second?
No, ma'am.
Yes, I did. I seconded
Okay.
it.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Now discussion. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor James,
That was a yes from her. She muted, but she said yes.
okay, Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Lavin.
Yes.
Go on unmute, Miss James, for your yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Motion carries.
Me and these computers, I don't know.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're still young at age. We're still young.
All
We're
right.
still young. Yeah, that's right, Scott. Scott James. We're still young, aren't we? Okay, all right. Moving to City Attorney's report and update.
Mr. Mayor, I have no update at this time.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Manager?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Our commissioners, Commissioner Lavin?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jones?
No, I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jameson?
No, I'm good.
Too. Vice Mayor?
Oh, y'all, that's not right. It's not right. I have a question. I'm about to step out of my lane, okay, and walk in somebody else's lane, so y'all have to help me. But when we patch these potholes out in the street, the material that we're using to patch them with, it lasts from sun up to sundown. 2 or 3 cars run over it, and then there's a pothole out there again. So I need to know if somebody can look into maybe using something different, something that's going to hold up to when we fill up these potholes. To me, it seems like we're spending a lot of unnecessary money filling up the same holes over and over and over, and they last no time at all. And that's why I say I know I'm stepping out of somebody's lane because I don't know materials, but somebody that know more about it than I do maybe could look into it and see if there's something, a better way that we can spend our money for road repair. I would appreciate that.
And you're right, they do, especially out there rain.
Man, a rain will wash it away, and 2 or 3 cars running over it will spread it all over everywhere, and then the hole is there again.
So, Jennifer, didn't we purchase some type of machine that supposed to make hot tar, whatever it was?
Hot patch machine.
Yes.
Yes, we did. I wrote it down. I'm gonna mention it. The manager and I will mention it to David and find out what's going on there. But we do have one. Yes, Mayor.
Yeah,
And I've been told by a asphalt contractor that cold patch is not going to last. It doesn't matter how much you put it in there. You have to use the hot patch machine if you want a substantial patch.
And we do have one. So we'll see what's going on there. Where was that? Where was the particular pothole?
Right out here in front of my door.
Oh, let me tell you, Miss Saul, there's a whole bunch of them on Northwest 240th and that whole neighborhood that they fill.
There's a lot of them all around, but
2 or 3 times a week.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. I don't have anything neither, so you was on one tonight, Gloria.
By myself?
Yeah, you are.
You're special.
All right.
Okay.
If there's nothing else, I hope that all y'all have a happy 4th of July. Don't do too much barbecuing. Y'all be safe, and
I'm gonna stay inside myself.
You're gonna stay inside. All right. If there's nothing else, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Y'all have a
Good night.
good night.
Enjoy, everybody.